Zois Chanukah. Before, I have one thing to share, but just because everyone was asking just for a little Chassidish Zois Chanukah Torah. So I'll just read you two short pieces. One, I believe, is the piece that, as they say, went viral. It's amazing how, a piece from the Rishner, could go viral. Told the Rishner that his Torah went viral, he wouldn't know what you're talking about. But they, in the Sefer Ner Yisrael, they quote from the Rishner, Kvod Kedushas Mar and Admar of Amram Yaakov, he said, the Ger Zichron Yogin Aleinu Bal Avi Yaakov Amar B'Zeis Chanukah. This is what he said, Achar Adlakas Aneris B'Shem Zekena Yorabenu Mirizhin. So he finished lighting the menorah, he turned around, and this is what he said. Masha Sadikim Yecholim Lifol Eitzel Hashem Yisbarach Rosh Hashanah V'Yom HaKippurim. That which Sadikim are able to do on Rosh Hashanah V'Yom Kippurim, Yachol Kol Yehudi Lifol B'Zeis Chanukah. Any Yid has the power in Zeis Chanukah. What Sadikim do on Zeis Chanukah, on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The Zois Chanukah writes that B'Yom Acharayin Shenikra Zeis Chanukah. We read Parshas Ba'aleischa because this last day is Kailel Kol Hayamim. The entirety of Chanukah is contained in Zois Chanukah, just like Shmini Atzeres. Shmini Atzeres is that final day of Yontif, and you have the entirety of Sukkot, which is contained there within. Oh, very good. Valideshu Yom Acharayin says this Vasemes Kosher Aleinu Preidos Hayamim Tovim. It's difficult. It's difficult to leave. And therefore, it leaves us with the Ara for the whole year. And finally, just one last word about Zois Chanukah, and then we'll try to tie it all together. Is the Bnei Yisachar. The Heilige Bnei Yisachar writes, Margula b'pumayu derabanan. It's fascinating. He's telling you, this isn't my Torah. This is the Torah of all the Rabbanim. That what? Kata koidmim. Asher b'Chanukah yishumakim lo'oirer p'kidas akarim v'akaris. One could open up. One who wants to have children, or it probably means anything that's closed, you're able to open it up and get your Yeshua, get your salvation on Chanukah Ke'in Rosh Hashanah. Like Rosh Hashanah, it says, B'nei Yisachar L'daiti, what's the Iker Inyan of this Segula? Is on the final day. On the final day of Zois Chanukah, that is the final time, and that's when the Mazal Elyoin and the Mazal Tachtain, whatever that means, the different Mazalis align with each other. And that's when one has the ability to tap into and to have his tefillos answered. So we'll just begin with a short tefillah and a bracha to all of us. The B'siyat D'Shmaya, everyone will take a moment by the neighbors tonight, and everyone says a short tefillah, a kapitel of Tehillim, connecting to Hashem in some level, and hopefully at Chasima, Shmini Atzeres, Zois Chanukah, all our tefillos should be niskabel. But I'd like to discuss for a moment, I think when you light the last candle, I actually thought of this last night and the second to last night. When you light the second to last candle, or tonight the last candle, I think there's a feeling that many of us have. And the feeling is, it's over. It's over. Some of us feel, okay, Baruch Hashem, no more gifts. Others feel, the kids feel, no more gifts. But we all have this feeling like it's over. It's over, the beauty of Chanukah, and I think deep down what that feeling really is articulating is, did we get out of Chanukah what we wanted? I think if we were to go back a month, at Rosh Chodesh Kislev, when you have this vision of Chanukah in the distance, we all dream and hope that Chanukah comes and we connect to Chanukah. We connect with the menorah, and we connect with the tefillos, and the hallel, and the haidah, and the parties, and the family. And probably as Chanukah got closer, maybe we even learned a little bit of Torah about Chanukah, or we heard something, and then Chanukah comes. And yes, I'm sure many of us, we did light, and we did connect, and we did daven, but there's a little bit of a feeling of, did we do it? And many Yom Tovim, we have that feeling when it leaves. But I think particularly Chanukah, and I'd like to explain where that feeling comes from and maybe why it's a wrong feeling. And maybe we could reorient ourselves with what Chanukah is supposed to be in a few short moments. When we conjure up a picture of Chanukah, what is the picture of Chanukah? Chanukah is this majestic menorah, this incredible nace, this little pach shemen that was burnt, that stayed burning for 8 days. This small group of tzaddikim, the way that, everyone has their way of painting the picture, but, I think lately there's been a lot of talk about the Moyetzes, So you think of the Moyetzes, all the Gedolim, Rav Chaim and Rav Yashiv and Allah Elta Gedalim, and they're all going out to battle against the Navy SEALs. It's a joke, and they win. And they win. An incredible, incredible miracle. And we think about the fact that Chanukah is Me'al Derech HaTeva. Teva is, of course, the number 7. 7 days of creation, 7 days of the week, 7 notes in the musical scale. And 8 is above Teva. 8 is miraculous. 7 days of Sukkot, the 70 nations, their karbanos. The 8th day is Shmini Atzeres. The 8th day is above Teva. Bismana Beis HaMikdash, whatever this means, there's going to be an 8th note. The instruments, all instruments will have an 8th note. The kinar in the Beis HaMikdash is going to have an 8th note. Oh, Shalom Rabben. The kinar in the Beis HaMikdash is going to have an 8th note. And we conjure up this picture of Me'al Derech HaTeva. We conjure up this picture of Me'al Derech HaTeva. And we wonder, did we really connect with that? Did we connect with this glamorous miracle, this going beyond? And we probably have heard that Chanukah is the time that you push yourself. And if you push yourself beyond, you could see Nisim. And it's true. You certainly can. But unfortunately, many of us walk away wondering whether we got there. So I'd like for a moment to answer 3 basic questions about Chanukah, which I think will give us a newfound appreciation of what Chanukah really is supposed to be, and maybe how we can connect to it with the little bit of time that we have left on a bit of a deeper level. The 3 basic questions that we could address about Chanukah is, firstly, the timing of the mitzvah. We spoke about this last night. The timing of the mitzvah is fascinating. Most mitzvahs, we have day mitzvahs and we have night mitzvahs. Lulav is by day, Tefillin is by day, Karban Pesach is by night, Shema is by day and by night. Unfortunately, not in the middle. But mitzvahs have times. Menorah is when? Right in between Shkia, Tzeis, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Menorah is like stuck in between. Very interesting. The time of the month. All Yom Tovim occur when? Early in the month. Halfway through the month. Chanukah, the end of the month. Going into the next month. Odd, strange. And the most odd of them all is if we were to meet an elderly Mishnayis Yid, the Yidden that sit back in the Stadt in Europe, and they sit and they know all Mishnayis. And you were to ask them some questions. And you'd ask them a question of this halacha, they'll tell you the Mishnah. And you ask them about this, and Tumah, and Taira, and Karbanes, and you say to them, and Chanukah? Nowhere in all of Mishnayis is Chanukah mentioned. There's a mention in Baba Kama about if a menorah does damage, but there's nothing to do with the Yom Tov of Chanukah. There's nowhere in all of Mishnaic literature that Chanukah is mentioned. Gemara, of course, we all famously know. Mai Chanukah, the Tana Rabbanan, the famous Gemara. But in Mishnayis, it doesn't exist. But not in Mishnayis. Correct. Written by different people, as we'll see in a moment. Very good. Says the Chassam Sofer, and I think with this idea of the Chassam Sofer, it will give us a little bit of an understanding of what was going on. A little bit of a historical lesson. I'm not a historian by the longest stretch of the word. Very not good with time periods. But here, a small sketch of what was happening at the time of the Nes Chanukah. Says the Chassam Sofer the following. The Chassam Sofer doesn't write this. It is attributed to him. A son or a grandson in a sefer called Chotam Misholosh writes the following from his grandfather, the Chassam Sofer. And everyone says if there wasn't quoted b'shem the Chassam Sofer, no one could say the following. Why is Chanukah not mentioned in all of Mishnayis? Margala Bepume writes to his grandson, Kinis Chanukah leniskar klal b'mishnah. V'amar taimai. And the Chassam Sofer explained the reason. Ki Rabbeinu HaKadosh, who wrote the Mishnayis, Rav Yehuda Nasi, Rabbeinu HaKadosh misader HaMishnah. Okay. Rabbeinu HaKadosh was from the Zera of David HaMelech. He came from Yehuda. The Chashmonaim came from Levi. They were kohanim. And therefore, Rav Yehuda Nasi didn't write the whole story in Mishnayos. What's this? Like, my tribe is better than yours? Continues the Chassam Sofer. The Chashmonayim had incredible miracles. The Chashmonayim won the battle. The Chashmonayim had the Nes Chanukah. But what happened afterwards? What was the rest of the story? What was the fairy tale ending? That now we had the Beis HaMikdash. And then what? Says the Chassam Sofer, the Chashmonayim were Tafsu HaMelucha. They became the kings, even though they were not from David HaMelech. And this, says the Chassam Sofer, was incorrect. Rabbeinu HaKadosh felt this was incorrect because kings are only supposed to come from David HaMelech, from Yehuda. The Chashmonayim were not from Yehuda. They were from Shevet Levi. They incorrectly, inappropriately saw the allure of power, of kavod, and they became the kings, which was not for them. Rabbeinu HaKadosh for eternity wanted to make sure it is known that yes, the Chashmonayim had incredible siyat d'shmaya in their Melchama. Yes, they had an incredible nace of the little bit of oil lighting for 8 days. But what is the everlasting legacy of the Chashmonayim? It was not fully correct because they went too far. They should have gotten the Beis HaMikdash and they should have said, we're the Kohanim, we need a melech, we need a king. Who's going to be the king? It's not from us, we're from Levi, it should come from Yehuda. Because of that, Rabbeinu HaKadosh omitted Chanukah from all of Mishnayos. Fascinating. Puts a little bit of a damper on Chanukah. This glorious miracle, this wondrous thing, these Chashmonayim, these Tzaddikim, they took on this incredible battle. They found the little bit of oil. They didn't just say, Toma Hotra B'tzibur, and we collide with the Tamei oil. No, they went above and beyond. But what was the ending of the story? They went too far. They overstepped their boundaries. And if we go a little bit more in the history, we'll see. What menorah did they light? It wasn't, according to most opinions, it was not the golden menorah that we think it was. The golden menorah was long hidden, and instead they created a wooden, cheap menorah because they had no money. And they created a menorah from wood. The Mizbeach was tamei, was hidden away. And even before the Chashmonayim came into power, Shimon HaTzadik was an incredible tzaddik, but after he was nifter, says the Gemara, the Ner Ma'aravi, which we know should have burnt forever, Ner Tamid, it didn't always burn forever. There were times it went out. There was corruption. The Churban eventually happened by whom? By the Yidden feeding the Goyim and feeding and aiding into the Churban Abayis. So yes, did the Nes Chanukah happen? Of course. Was it an incredible Nes? 100%. But was it a fairy tale ending that we would think? Not even close. I called him a friend of mine, a chaver of mine. His name is Rabbi Gettinger. He's a Rav of the Young Israel of the Upper West Side. So he wrote this shtickle and he said the following line, which I think encapsulates Chanukah and gives us a newfound appreciation of what Chanukah is. And I think with this understanding, we could realize that we could indeed tap into Chanukah. Is Chanukah the light at the end of the tunnel? I think we were brought up with such an understanding. Then the Chashmonayim came in, they overcame, they made everything tahar, and now we have Beis HaMikdash, and now we have this incredible time period, 200 more years of a Beis HaMikdash, and everything is wonderful. However, unfortunately, that was not true. And instead of saying, Rav Morty, and instead of saying that Chanukah is the light at the end of the tunnel, perhaps we could suggest that Chanukah was a light maybe at the beginning of the tunnel, maybe in the middle of the tunnel, maybe within the darkness of this dark and closed-in tunnel of Galus, of all the issues that we have the Nes Chanukah, in which Hashem is still showing us that I'm still here watching. There's still going to be some level of Nisim. And I think with this newfound appreciation of what Chanukah is, when we realize that Chanukah is not this wondrous nace, this perfection, this above teva, incredible tzaddikim, I think we could actually tap into Chanukah. Because when we view Chanukah on this pedestal of perfection, credible tzaddikim, waging war, having nisim performed to them, we ask ourselves, are we that? And maybe when we hear about the Greek culture and how it was so powerful, we maybe even wonder at some times that we feel we might have been on the wrong side. But when we realize that the nace of Chanukah was indeed a nace, but there was still so much darkness. There were still many, many issues. There was much impurity. There was much corruption. There was a lot of problems within the second Beis HaMikdash. The Kohanim Gedolim died every year. Why? Because they were tzedukim. They would go in and perform the Avodah, and what would happen? They would be nifter on the spot, and it would be another one that they'd have to pull out and have a new Kohen Gadol. That's the world of Beis HaMikdash that we can envision. But that was the world of the Beis HaMikdash, of the second Beis HaMikdash. That was the world of the nace of Chanukah. Think with this appreciation of what Chanukah really was, we could think about it and we could say, I could do that. I have all that darkness. I have all those issues. And now I could find little blips of lightness, little whispers of Hashem saying, I'm still there. I'm performing a little miracle here. Someone told me he has a son fighting up in, he's not currently fighting, he said he's in the north, not the south. I don't really understand all these details. But he's explained to me he's waiting to fight. He's up there in gear. But he was saying, and we shared it with each other, this vart, and he said that his son, this soldier, shared this thought, that amidst the fighting, amidst the war, with all the darkness and the death, unfortunately, but there's daily little miracles, little incredible details, stories coming out of this occurrence and that occurrence. That's what Golus is. And that's what we're celebrating on Chanukah. What we're celebrating on Chanukah and what we hope to tap into on Zois Chanukah. And what we hope to try for a few moments when we say that short tefillah by the Neiros, and when we tap into and we have all our tefillahs answered on Zois Chanukah, as the culmination of the entirety of Chanukah, is what? Is that within the gullus, within the darkness, amidst all our problems, our imperfections, our failings, our issues, we still could find Hashem a little bit within all of it. And I'm going to end with the words of the Zohar, which is incredible, quoted by Rabbi Yerucham Olshan over here. And the Zohar says, you know what Chanukah is? Chanukah is on Chaf Hey, corresponding to the 25 Oisiyos of Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And he continues and he quotes over here that when one, the Sefer Soror Hamar writes, that when one can't daven, and he says the Chashmonaim weren't able to daven. So you know what they did? They tapped into the Kayach of Shema Yisrael, meaning living a life of Shema Yisrael amidst the darkness, our failings, our problems, maybe the times that we can't daven, maybe there are situations that we can't learn, maybe there are days that we are more down than we're up. That's the life of the second Beis HaMikdash. That's the times of the Chashmonaim. And our avodah is to find the Shema Yisrael, the 25 letters amidst all that darkness, amidst all the confusion, to find the times to take that little bit of light and allow it to light up a little bit. Doesn't give off that much light, one little candle, and even 8 don't give off that much light. But it's a little bit, and it's not completely dark. And then we could take those 8 lights into the rest of our winter, and amidst all the darkness and all the problems, and there will be downs. Hopefully there will be ups. There will be times that we'll be feeling maybe that we're rolling in this dark tunnel, that where is the end? But there will be little lights along the way. That is what the Neis Chanukah is. That's why Chanukah is particularly lit at that onset, that twilight between day and night, as it's showing that that's the time period of lighting the candle. That's why it's at the end of the month, which is always the darkness of the month. As the days, the moon gets smaller, as we lose the light of everything, because that's the time that we could tap into the incredible koyach of Chanukah b'siyata d'shmaya. We should all be zeicha. Number one, as we started, to have all our tefillahs answered. It's an incredible day of tefillah. Tomorrow is Chanukah, an incredible day. Everyone should find a moment to have a drop of extra kavanah. Have an extra moment to connect to what's Chanukah really all about, and to realize that yes, we have problems. Yes, we have issues. If anyone looks in the mirror and doesn't see them, then they're not looking hard enough. Then you have issues, exactly. And within those issues, and within those problems, and within all those failings, find a little bit of light that will light up the way for us, hopefully, b'siyata d'shmaya, making us like those Neros, jumping a little bit higher, a little bit more connected to Hashem each and every day.